I looked at the various mailboxes and found what I was looking for. An abandoned envelope with no writing or stamps. The only problem remaining was how to open the mailbox. It was equipped with a normal lock, very easy to destroy with a minimum of sheer force. Nevertheless, it was impossible to do it with my bare hands. That damn paid weather forecast service that I couldn't deactivate wiped out all of my credit. I didn't have the money to contact anyone, but in return, I knew that in New Orleans there was a moderate rain with winds above the seasonal average. By that time, they were all using those instant messaging programs. Therefore, my message box was constantly empty. I only had a game, the one with the snake that has to eat the dots all scattered all over the screen. I was complete rubbish at video games. My badge wasn't exactly the right tool to wedge this open with, but it was worth a try. The only thing I accomplished was jamming the badge into the narrow crack above the mailbox. The badge was so jammed that it didn't move an inch. The alley led around the building to the right. Before examining the area, though, I had to make sure I was in the right place. I didn't need to make the ladder come down. Bikes don't have a fee to park, or maybe they do. But I'd have canceled my own ticket anyway. I couldn't buzz the whole building without a clue. It wouldn't help me in any way. A mural signed P. Gold. I saw many others like that around the city. Someone left a stupid smiley on the intercom. The inscription implied that J.J. Earham was stupid. I was tempted to buzz to verify. I couldn't buzz the whole building without a clue. As much as I loved wandering around on Green Dart in the middle of the night, I had work to do. My Green Dart. A little engineering jewel made in Italy. In addition to being marvelous, it had a handy flask on the front, which I used for basically everything. Normally I would have filled it with scotch, but I didn't want to find myself in Orlando investigating a red whale again, like last time. Maybe there was still something useful in Green Dart's flask. Hey, there really was some scotch after all. Scotch tape, I mean. That roll of scotch tape must have got left in Green Dart's flask for years. Here's what the taxpayers' money was being used for. I thought it was better to leave before causing some serious damage to the sidewalk. The conditions of that sidewalk were getting worse. A stone bigger than the others just fell off the sidewalk. And who was I not to accept the kind gifts from Providence? The way it was stuck, the badge would act as a chisel. As usual, the letter was ripped and written with invisible ink. With scotch tape, I would be able to easily reassemble it. Well, I'd have to think about the invisible ink later. With scotch tape, I would be able to easily reassemble it. I would have stuck the scotch tape in the back of the letter, so as to obtain the best readability. I always hated puzzles. Oh, it wasn't as difficult as I feared. At that point, I just had to find a way to read the message hidden in the letter. Well, I remembered that to reveal invisible ink, you just have to warm it. Where could I find a source of heat that late at night? In order to reveal the hidden message, it had to be warmed up. The vending machine's engine emitted a faint heat, maybe intense enough to show the hidden writing on the letter. At first, nothing happened. I was about to give up when it happened. The first characters appeared. The letter corresponded in every way with the ones found before. Supportive tone, an apparent desire to support the police force, then laced with a sudden temper tantrum hinting at a killing frenzy. I had to dig into this, looking for clues. Blowtorch's tone ranged from disappointment to encouragement, with a barely concealed desire for recognition. The forensic guys had no doubt about the gender of the killer just after the first murder. The reason for their certainty wasn't the accuracy of the burns, so much as the various bruises found on the bodies, which displayed extraordinary force. The usual outburst in the middle of a letter that until then seemed thoughtful and balanced. Then I saw the emoticon at the end of the paragraph. That was new. That face. In his earlier letters, Blowtorch never left anything similar. I took a mental note. That smile left on the letter and the one on the intercom were identical, so I could rule out a simple coincidence. I had just identified the apartment I was looking for. I guess Blowtorch tried to be funny at times, the only result being to appear even creepier. The last paragraph was surely hiding a clue. The murderer was even directing us to a specific profession. The usual closing format. Blowtorch constantly described himself as a normal citizen and a regular taxpayer. I don't know why, but that format made me mad. The smiley on the intercom marked the flat to inspect. The apartment was registered to a certain G. Glover. I hoped I got there in time.
Yes? Who is it?
I'm Detective Bundy from HPD. If you don't mind, I need to ask you some questions. He didn't answer immediately. Moments of total silence passed, during which I thought he had hung up.
Sorry for the hesitation, but I really don't understand what you would want from me. I'm just a normal citizen who...
Yes, of course, but I really need, and I mean really need, to talk to you. With a certain urgency, too. Can you open the front door?
I hate to be a killjoy, but you have a warrant. I don't want to get into trouble with my landlord.
You know what? I guess I forgot it in my other hand. Anyway, I already told you that...
Listen, the landlord is a real pain in the ass, and I don't want any trouble.
If it's such a big deal, you won't have any problem coming back with a warrant. Good night. In my entire career, I had never been mistreated like that by someone I had to protect. Despite the fact that the guy was an idiot, I couldn't let him be killed in cold blood. Besides the front door, the only visible way in seemed to be the fire escape above. That ladder would have been the perfect way in, but it was too far. Maybe in that alley, I would find alternative access to the building. Jumping from that roof would be very Hollywood style, but I would have broken my neck. In that moment, I thought of the hundreds of baseball games I'd seen while living in America, and I had a real moment of epiphany. The greatest champions in history were looking at me from the sky, cheering for me and waving their arms. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the newest member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, Lazarus Stonearm Bundy! Give it up for the only, the incomparable, Lazarus Bundy!
Lazarus Bundy in my place. Who'd have thought it?
Here's my man. All 7'5" of a man, to be exact. Well, so much the better. If things got out of hand, he could protect me.
Lazarus Bundy, what are you doing? I still had some surprises in store for you. Instead, it's already time to put an end to our game.
Just then, I knew I misunderstood the whole situation.
Not a word.
Things went down dramatically. I had no gun, as always, and I had to deal with a mastodon ready to kill his next victim. Burton would surely arrive with backup shortly after. But, how shortly? Moreover, we were convinced we had to protect the man who instead just revealed himself to be the monster we were hunting. I thought of sending a text to warn him, but I had no credit on my phone, having accidentally subscribed to a live weather service. I was in more danger than ever. But at least I knew the weather was fine in Baltimore. One thing was for sure, I couldn't wait anymore. The leftovers were inviting, but useless. The bottle, though, caught my attention. That beast towered over me, but a bottle in the right spot would put anyone to sleep. I had to hold my breath. The slightest noise would betray me. Never mind.
I told you to close that sewer hole, you slut! If I hear even one more whisper, I'll be forced to use more brutal methods than usual. Is that clear?
Freeing the girl was going to be way more difficult than that. The TV was silently showing a vintage spaghetti western. Change the channel, right now? I wanted to see how the movie ended. The beast was busy in a one-sided conversation. All he did was grumble. Apparently he became chatty only when it came time to write me letters. With bare hands, I would barely be able to tickle him. He left the storage room open. My eyes saw the lamp. My brain translated it as good makeshift weapon. Trying to use the lamp as a makeshift weapon would have meant walking the entire length of the room twice. If I wanted to die, I could have found a more glorious method, such as jumping out naked after drawing a target on my chest. For a moment, and a moment only, I thought about how things might have gone if I didn't feel an unspeakable hatred of firearms. That would have been a fitting ending for sure. I had a pretty good idea of how to distract the threatening big guy. I was desperate and in dire straits. I could do nothing but go for broke.
Look what you made me do, slut! First, I need to recover that damn phone, but I still don't know how you managed to keep from me. Then, we'll settle up. What the fuck?
Stay calm. I'll get you out of here in a split second. Hurry! Run! I'll hold him.